I'm Chimo Mangazi with Business Time on Times. It is a magazine program where we bring you business and economic news stories making headlines. In the program today, cross-border traders challenged on procedure competitiveness, and cooking oil VAT chokes industry. We have these and other stories. Stay tuned.
Sinenenje. Asomunalimo muno?
Ya, ndimaza kulia ruzina ndizina amwali.
Mademo shopata. Sugar, apo tukona nkaka. Umatu masambati nje mulibe uno.
Alamwa kurusamwa aliyo masamba.
Ndakaso ti ngati. Amwali. Komasoto ino basket yonse yango dzadza ndi made in Malawi yoka. Tamakani moyo tsogola pogula zinthu zakunja.
Maganizo amene uri ndobwezera chitukuko cha dziko lino mbuyo. Kugula zinthu zopangidwa kwathu konkuno kumathandiza kukweza ntchito za makampani a mdziko muno. Zomwezo zimapereka mwayi wa ntchito kwa anthu ambiri. Ogwira ntchito akachuluka dziko lathu limatolera misonkho yochuluka. Chumanso chimakwera. Mukagula katundu wakunja mumangolemeretsa mayiko akunjawo ife sitipindula kanthu.
Kani
ndikuuzani
iyo ndendamvetsatu. Ndikire pompa. Nene ndikagula zinthu zathu za chimalawi. Sindichedwa.
Tikule zathu tikule dziko lathu.
Ndidikire sindichedwa.
Dziko lathu bai Malawi kondendi kunyadira za chimalawi kama gula za kunja.
Hello and welcome. Malawi has been a net importer for so long, owing to insatiable appetite for imported goods and a shaky manufacturing industry. Cross-border traders make the most of the situation to remain in business. But negligence on export procedures and lack of understanding of tax systems are cited among factors affecting their earnings. This came out during an interface between the Malawi Revenue Authority and the Cross-Border Traders Association in Blantyre on Monday. Gary Samati was there and now reports.
Cross-border traders who attended the meeting lamented high and multiple taxes that they are subjected to that impact on their earnings. Esther Chugambira is national chairperson of the Cross-Border Traders Association of Malawi.
When we reached the border and find out that we have been charged with high tax, didn't know how to calculate the charges, how the MRI officials calculate their charges. So today they have trained our cross-border traders on how they do calculations when they are charging duty on the border. We have been taught how we can get these import and export permits, where we can find them, and we have also been informed that there are these papers, because most of the traders, they didn't know that they can use these papers when they're going out and when they are coming to Malawi with their goods. But from this meeting, we have been highlighted that whenever we are doing business, we must use these papers because they are helping when we are coming to Malawi with our goods.
Representatives from the Malawi Revenue Authority say the problem is worsened by lack of understanding of the tax regime among the traders. MRA Head of Corporate Affairs, Steve Kaboloma, says Malawi signed bilateral and regional agreements that allow importation and exportation of certain goods with reduced or no taxes.
The purpose of this meeting is to educate cross-border traders with regards to processes and procedures that we follow as Malawi Revenue Authority in the process of customs clearing. What we have noticed is that the cross-border traders have challenges in understanding how we calculate taxes. As such, they are always surprised when they come at the border and they are being demanded to pay a certain amount of taxes. But we have also noticed that some cross-border traders are not taking advantages of the trade agreements between Malawi and other governments. As a result, they do come at the border without the required papers, for example, the certificate of origin. As a result, they do not enjoy the privileges that other traders, maybe those that are big companies, enjoy, because they follow all the necessary protocols when they are purchasing goods from countries that have signed agreements with the Malawi Revenue Authority or government of Malawi. So we are here to enlighten them how duty is calculated, so that they can do the calculation on their own when they are actually in the foreign country. They're going to do the calculation and estimate how much duty they will pay at the border. At the same time, we want them to take advantage of these trade agreements so that they can now pay less duty and improve their businesses. They need to take advantage of the Malawi-Mozambique trade agreements. They need to take advantage of Malawi-Zambia trade agreement, Malawi-Zimbabwe trade agreements. But there are also regional agreements that are there. For example, the COMESA Treaty as well as the SADC Treaty. All these treaties provide preferential treatment of duty. Instead of paying, for example, 25%, you pay 10% or 5%. So we want them to take advantage of these provisions that are in these various treaties so that they can also benefit, because those that are big traders, they are aware of this and they're able to take advantage of these provisions and they are enjoying. And we want to make sure that we provide all the necessary information to cross-border traders for them to make informed decisions.
This is coming at a time cross-border traders have been complaining of a slowdown in business owing to lockdowns perpetrated by the COVID-19 pandemic. Meanwhile, the country has established policies to support the growth of such traders by giving them 60% of government procurement businesses.
Meanwhile, refined cooking oil manufacturers in the country, under the banner of the Edible Cooking Oil Association of Malawi, ECOAM, have lamented a drop in demand for the commodity following surge in prices. The association has since issued a fresh call for removal of the 16.5% value-added tax VAT on cooking oil. The VAT was introduced in the 2020-2021 national budget. The association has also warned that if the situation does not improve, there is a great risk of massive retrenchments in the industry. ECOAM chairperson Jeshri Patel issued the warning on Wednesday when addressing journalists on the impact of the VAT on cooking oil. She explains.
Okay, I would like to just take you a bit in the history of Malawi. Since 2017, when the VAT was removed, prior to that, for 10 to 15 years, the cooking oil industry never developed in this country. There were only 2 cooking oil industries operating at a very small scale, and removed it. Once they removed it, the history or the data is showing that there was a growth in the industry of 100%. There were only 2 industries having certain very minimum production capacity, but then we had 3 more industries coming into the country, and we were now sufficing the totally local demand, and there were further investment plans for 2021 and 22. The reimposition of VAT has hurt the companies only because, not because the quality is not good, not because the pricing is not good, only because our neighbor country, Mozambique, has removed the VAT, because their industries explained it to the government and the government understood that they must support their own industry. So they removed the VAT, and so when Malawi reimposed the VAT, the smuggling started, because the 60% of consumption of oil is in rural Malawi, and rural Malawians are very price conscious. They are not quality conscious. Although the quality which is being dumped in, coming in through smuggling, is very poor quality, with having no fortification of vitamin A, which will really create a nutritional problem in coming future. So basically what we are saying is that if the local industries are imposed VAT, if Mozambicans also had VAT, there would be no smuggling, and the competition would be at par, and there would be local industries would flourish. But with this reimposition and our borders being porous, where our home ministry is not able to control the smuggling, is having this problem. At the moment, if this continues for next 3 months, the employment...
This is Business Time, a magazine program where we bring you major business and economic news stories making headlines. We'll be right back.
Excuse me, madam. Stop billing. I'm taking back all these goods to the shelves.
What's wrong, sir?
Never mind. I have just changed my mind.
Excuse me. I just noticed you returned all the goods you meant to buy. What went wrong?
Some of these products are not originally made here in Malawi.
But these goods have a logo to authenticate them. And we manufacture them ourselves.
Then it means you're not registered with Buy Malawi strategy. This logo here with a tick is not correct.
How?
All products and services registered with Buy Malawi strategy have an original logo approved by government through the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Tourism that really authenticates your product as a Malawian product. Now, once you register, your product and service will be recognized as Malawian. Look, we must buy Malawi to build Malawi. You can find out more from Buy Malawi Secretariat or call them on 01 770 244 0993 707 729 or 0999 528 510. You can also simply email info@buymalawi.mw.
Buy Malawi, kondeni kunyadira za chimalawi. Kama gula.
Welcome back. A report by the Parliamentary Committee on Industry, Trade and Tourism says poor tax policies and poor pricing of goods among the private sector players exacerbate smuggling. The report further indicates that these factors are perpetuated by porous borders. The committee observed that no member of the Malawi business community finds the tax policies in Malawi reasonable. Justin Kweu has more in this report.
On the private sector's influence on smuggling, the committee's field visits to border towns such as Msundwe, Mkanda, Kamwendo, Kapiri, Kasia, Magawa, Mangochiboma and Liwonde observed that high pricing of commodities was a major factor that promoted the illicit trade of smuggling. The report has since recommended that the introduction of tax policies on the private sector should be able to target growth for long-term revenue collection and not short-term. The report says the tax set by government may need to be reduced in order for industries to increase production, which could result in more sales and more revenue collection in the long term for MRA. The report further indicates that, for example, before Malawian sugar prices dropped from 17,330 kwacha to 15,000 kwacha at a bulk discount price of 14,800 kwacha and at a retailed price of 800 kwacha from the 900 kwacha. Kafue sugar that sold at 11,875 kwacha per bale or 800 kwacha per packet, and the national sugar that sold at 15,500 kwacha per bale or 800 kwacha per packet were in high circulation. Reacting to the report, MCCCI Chief Executive Officer Chancellor Kafera said the issue of prices borders on the cost of manufacturing in the country against smugglers who evade every applicable tax, hence their products are cheaper. He said when they smuggle, they do not pay any applicable tax. Therefore, the goods are much cheaper because of that. And the other reason is that the people who are supposed to curb smuggling are also the culprits. That is why smugglers get away with it. Therefore, the country needs to eradicate corruption if the country is to see any change. Malawi's infant manufacturing sector is still crawling, smuggling being one of the reasons, thereby dwarfing economic development of the country.
Now, a local business management consultancy firm, Nest Business Consult, has tipped small and medium-scale businesses to acquire necessary information that lead to accessing finance from commercial banks and incorporate such in running their businesses. Its managing partner, Farison Chipingamware, says there is a lot of funds for SMEs to access and grow their businesses only if they adhere to the requirements. He explains more in this interview. One of the sectors that is touted to having the potential to transform Malawi's economy is the SME sector.
Yes.
But it is one sector that as well decries lack of finance.
Yeah.
How do you describe the situation as at now in regard SMEs accessing finance from banks?
Yes, I think the main problem with this sector is not that they lack finance. Mm-hmm. They may have finance adequately, but how they manage, how they understand the market, who are the suppliers, who are the customers, who is powerful between them and their suppliers, who is powerful between them and their customers. Apart from finance, you look at the technological advancement. We're advancing, but the SMEs are not. They're still using the crude ways of doing business. Mm-hmm. Now, if we are to move out of this trap, there has to be counsel. Mm-hmm. They need to have counsel. Counsel, in like you've touched, how do they approach banks? Mm-hmm. Banks are enhanced on this one, mm-hmm. enhanced on the financial your sources, mm-hmm. and how you can repay your loans, enhanced on you as a manager. Mm-hmm. What's your capability in this area? Mm-hmm. Enhance on your markets. Where are you taking? You can produce if you don't have a market. That's in vain. Mm-hmm. So we come in to balance these aspects to appeal to the person who is approving the application. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we come handy to interpret. They have data. We put that data together and make it information so that the bank can read and understand it to say this is a safe lending.
Be that as it may, there is a school of thought that banks are deliberately making it tough for this sector or the business sector to borrow because they have a borrower in the name of government. What's your take on that?
No. What I can tell you is the capability I was talking about, the skills that the people in the field have. You may agree with me that this is the field where people, when they make excessive profits, they get too excited. Mm-hmm. They go on unnecessary holidays. Mm-hmm. They go into unnecessary extramarital affairs. Mm-hmm. They go into that merrymaking just because they don't understand the whole aspect, the whole circle of this business. Mm-hmm. So eventually they end up going out of business. But not that the business was not profitable. Mm-hmm. Not that the banks didn't trust them in the first place. Mm-hmm. As time goes, the banks have come up with a whole picture about the SMEs mm-hmm. to say this is a risk area, and it is indeed a risk area. Unless something is done, an intervention is taken, like from people who are knowledgeable, and we come up with solutions. Mm-hmm. This problem is there, and we will not blame banks mm-hmm. that they are kind of segregating this sector. No, mm-hmm. this sector is risky. It's risky because all these dimensions don't come to balance. Mm-hmm. They may have a good market, a good product, but the owner doesn't have the discipline. Mm-hmm. We may have a very good owner, financially enabled, independent, maybe he doesn't need banks, he's got everything else. Mm-hmm. But the concept to go to take to the, because we are all solving a challenge in society. Mm-hmm. So even if you have money, a lot of resources, if you don't identify which space you want to identify a challenge and the help, mm-hmm. you can't make business. So innovation is about you being able to see a space somewhere where there is no solution to a challenge that is existing.
Mm-hmm. Well, with that story, we've come to the end of today's edition of Business Time here on Times. It is a magazine program where we bring you major business and economic news stories making headlines in the country. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Chimwemwe Mangazi. But always remember, if it doesn't make money, it doesn't make sense. Bye for now.